Hi everyone, welcome back. This is my second part of my Spring Inspiration 2026 presentation. Today's day 9, and if you are following, then you just saw my video sharing my project, which was making a journal, but embellishing it with silk ribbon embroidery, because my prompt for day 9 is stitching. So what I was making, well, what I'm going to show you how to make and do some basic stitches are these little corner bookmarks, or just decorative edges that you can put on the corner of your book page. And these are going to be a giveaway. You have to watch my other video to find out how to enter. And there'll be 2 recipients, and you'll each be receiving 3. So let's get started. What these do is they just fit on a corner of a page. And what you will need, you can make them with fabric or felt. And I chose felt because for beginners, it's the easiest to work with. Plus, they slip on and off easily, and felt comes in so many pretty colors. It's just an easy choice. And I do recommend synthetic felt instead of wool, because the wool is just too floppy, and the synthetic is nice and stiff. So what you're going to need is some felt, and I've just made my pattern with, I just took a corner of a page and I rounded it off, because I always like rounded corners. And you just cut it, and I did it on pressed board or whatever you have. And then you make your little pattern. And then you take your pattern and you put it on your felt and cut it out. You cut it exactly, no seam. Okay, I can't think right now. No seam allowance. Just cut it directly according to your corner, which are pretty much all the same. So you would need 2 pieces, a front and a back. And what I like to do is, after I stitch my whatever embroidery I'm going to put on the front, I like to take a piece of, they call it Wonder Under or fusible webbing. It's got little tiny glue spots, dried little glue spots, which are heat activated, and you just put it on the back of your messy little stitches, because it can get really messy back here. You just put it on the back of just one of the corners and just press it, and it adheres like this one and covers up your mess. It doesn't allow the book pages to pull out your stitches from behind. Okay, so Wonder Under, some felt or fabric, and whatever silk ribbon, you can get it online. I don't know if they sell it in stores anymore, but you can just get all colors and sizes. I like to work with 7mm and 4mm. 4mm is great for stems and such like that, and the 7mm is nice for the flowers, the blooms, and everything. But you can use both. You can use, whatever you want. But 7mm and 4mm are my favorite. Okay, so let's put him aside and let's try one. The stitches I want to share today, I do not use a hoop, but I'm going to today. And I just have a heavy muslin, a heavy muslin cloth. And I place the names that what I'm going to use for reference for you. And these are the basics. These are very basic, and you can make just about any flower out there with these basic stitches, silk ribbon embroidery stitches. So I'm going to do it on here, which I would normally, of course, be doing it on the fabric or the felt. And you will need a beading thread or a nice thread for if you're going to do the spiderweb rows or the woven rows. And if you're going to do any beading, like for the centers of the flowers, like this, these are little glass beads, just for accent. You can also use French knots in the middle. You do not need beads. Okay, so I'm going to start actually with the Lazy Daisy. And that is, let's see here. This is the Lazy Daisy stitch here. And I threaded my needles already so it can go faster so you're not here all day long. And I did leave one blank because I want to show you how to correctly thread a silk ribbon needle. Just like you're going to do regular thread, and then you go back and you just puncture kind of close to the end, 1/2 inch or less, and then just pull it through. Now for the knot, you can do a traditional knot. If you're doing a project like this, you can do a traditional knot because it's not a garment where you're going to wear it and it's going to stick up, you know, by the bulk of the knot. So what you do otherwise, the usual knotting of silk ribbon is at the end, you're going to go toward the ribbon from the end of it and just do it like take 3 or 2 stitches, I'm sorry, and just pull it through and just take that one and just kind of give it a nice pull and just pull it through gently because you don't want to take it out again. You're just going to leave it kind of bulked up, kind of messy. And the needles are very easy to find. I purposely went to Hobby Lobby because I know a lot of you, it's just a very common place for people, crafters and sewers to go to. And you can find these very inexpensive, 99 cents, $1.49. You get 13 needles in here and 6 in here. And I would recommend a variety pack. And they recommend the tapestry needle. And the tapestry needle is not my favorite because it's blunt end. It has a blunt end, and some fabrics you just really have to push it through, which, you know, it's not a big deal, but I like them to glide through. And the other tip would be you want a large, if you're doing a 7mm, you want a large eye because you don't want to stress out your ribbon. It is silk, and you don't want it to run like nylons, or silk hose, I should say. You want it to go through easily, and you want to make the hole big enough when you're going through the fabric that your ribbon is not being stretched or stressed as it's going through the fabric. Okay, so you've got the size for 9mm perfect, and you have the size for 4mm, 2mm, all of it in this little packet. Okay, and that's Hobby Lobby. And so that's the needles, the embroidery, the silk ribbon embroidery threads, and beading thread if you want to use it. Most people just use the white. There are different colors, like if you're doing the Fargo rows, the woven rows or spiderweb rows. Some people like to match as close as they can to the thread, the silk ribbon that they're using. And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But that is something to know, that there are different colors. And you can get it on Etsy, in any stitch shop, I'm pretty sure, or beading shop. Definitely the bead shops have all kinds of colors. Okay, so let's get started. The Lazy Daisy, I am going to use the little yellow, the 4mm yellow, and I'm going to use it here. So you're going to come up and a lot of people use a laying tool. I think they're pesty. I just don't use them. So I use my thumb. And then you come up and bring it all the way up, and you see the little knot on the back turned into a knot, and it's not going anywhere, but you still want to be careful when you're pulling it. You don't want to pull it through the fabric, because depending on your fabric, this is a tight woven muslin. Some of it is, you know, a looser woven, and it could come right up if you're pulling it. So you do want to be delicate at that point. And right beside where you came up, with your finger underneath, you want to move your knot over and make sure it's not in your way. Let me get close enough so you can see. And you're going to go right down beside it, and you're going to take a little bite out of the fabric and come right back up like that. Then you want to take this and go around, kind of like the direction that it came up. That's what you want to go around, and just push it. And sometimes you got to really pull depending on what fabric, and then just do this, and you can guide your, instead of a laying tool, you can guide. See how I just wrapped it around like it's coming out that way, the ribbon, instead of this way, it's this way. And just put your thumb on it gently, and then just pull, and it should even itself out, and you'll get this. Now you want to pull straight up. Don't pull this way. I mean, you can pull this way, but if you pull it straight up, you're going to get a nice, see, a nice little V. And then you're going to put your finger on that, and then just go right over top. See that little piece that I went? You're going to go right on the other side of it. So you're tacking down that tip of your ribbon. Okay, and that's what you get. That's your ribbon stitch. I'm sorry, it's not your ribbon stitch. It's your lazy daisy stitch. See, it's been a long time since I've done a tutorial on sewing or stitching. Okay, so we're going to go right next to that, and you're going to do the same thing. Come right next to the one that you just came out of. Take a little bite out of the fabric. You don't have to measure anything, just kind of eyeball it. Sometimes you're going to be a little different, a little bigger, a little smaller. It is not a big thing. Nature, there's no flowers that are perfect in nature, and I feel the same way about silk ribbon embroidery. If you get a little goofy flower, who cares? And then just pull it straight up, and then you can kind of look at it and see. Now see how he's kind of twisted on the side? Even though he came up through here, he went down a little twisted. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to lift it up again and see if he's going to look okay. And he is, so I'm just pulling it all the way through gently until you have your second flower. Now, I just like to use the fabric in my hands because I can manipulate it much better than I can with the hoop. But most people do enjoy the hoops, and that's what I'm using today. Now, also with this, you can instead of just flowers, you can make this first petal larger and this one smaller, and do a larger and a smaller, and then come through here with some beads or a straight stitch, and you can make a butterfly. Put little antenna on it with a thread and a bead on the end possibly, or a little French knot, and you'd have a little butterfly. So there's so much you can do with ribbon embroidery. So I'm going to do the second one. I mean this other side. I'm just going to put 4 petals on this flower. Well, actually, I'm just going to put 3 on because I'm not going to finish it because there's so many others to do. This will be my last one. I just want to show you again one more time. Down, take a little bite. Just kind of ease it in there. He looks like he's going to be fine. Just pull it up. Well, he's crooked. Okay, we're not going to mess with that. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to show you, instead of just going over the side, you can also go right down in the ribbon on the other side. See, like I would be going under the ribbon, you can go in the ribbon and you'll have a different effect. And I do like that for like passion flowers and stuff. I do like that effect. You just pull it all the way through and it looks like this. Okay? Okay, now when you're finishing off, if you have a thicker fabric, you can kind of just run it through the fabric. But with this, instead of doing a knot, which you can also do, I just run it through some of the ribbon. Just catch you some ribbon. Always put your thumb on it so you're not pulling something from the other side. Always put your thumb on it and just ease it over. And then just cut it off. I later go back and trim everything up. Anyway, so that's a Lazy Daisy. Very simple, easy. This is why I don't like hoops, even though I put it so tight, it's still, oh, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to do the Japanese ribbon stitch. Let's change and do, I like to do the leaves in a ribbon stitch. So the Japanese ribbon stitch with a 7mm ribbon, you're just going to come up. I've already knotted these, by the way. You're just going to come all the way up till your knot catches. And you're going to place your ribbon. You're going to see how it comes up out of the fabric. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then you're going to straighten that up a little bit. And you're going to come away just slight little bit. And you're going to go down into the center of your ribbon and just, again, pull it through. And go nice and slow. And you'll see that it forms a little V. See that little V there? And that is a leaf. Let me do one up here. Let's say we want to put a leaf right between this. Let's pull it through. And that's another thing, you don't want to travel that much. See, from here to here, you just want to stay in the vicinity of where you're working. Otherwise, it can be shown, it can be seen underneath your fabric. And besides, you'll also catch a lot of stuff on it. I'm just doing it for the purpose of showing you where I'm placing a leaf. So do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so here we go. I came out of the fabric, and I'm going to just take a little, however big I want my leaf to be, and I'm going to go down the middle of the, see how you have to pull sometimes? There we go. Give it a little tug, and then gently come through and get that little leaf look. See that little curled or furled leaf? And that is the Japanese ribbon stitch. You can also do those for daisies, fantasy flowers. And again, I'm going to go through a piece of silk ribbon. Doesn't matter which direction. I'm going to put my thumb on it so I'm not pulling anything from anywhere. And then I'm going to gently do it and then cut it off. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's a Japanese ribbon stitch, a Lazy Daisy. Let's go ahead and do the Fargo Rose. It's one of my favorites. And we're going to do tiny ones, and I'm going to do it in pink. I have my little, this is a little large. I usually do about 18 inches of ribbon. This is a little bit more, I believe. 18 inches is nice and easy to work with, or 12, whatever you, as long as you have enough to finish your flower, because you don't want to knot it off and then start all over again just to finish another petal of your flower. So the Fargo Rose, you're going to come up in your fabric. And again, pull it through till you're not butts up against the back. And I have to put this down, but you just want to put your, as if you're going to do like a French knot, you just want to take a piece of that, or take a piece, wind that up or over your needle until you've got about 1.5 inches or even less. With 4 millimeter, you want a little bit smaller, and with 7 millimeter, you want it a little bit longer, because you'll see why. So I've got that wrapped around my needle, and I'm going to go in and out. 1, 2, 3. Oop. You try to stay in the middle, but if you go to the side, it doesn't matter. And 4 times. You see how I wrapped it? How I just took bites out of the needle, just kind of wove it through. Now you're going to go right beside where you came out of, not in the same hole, beside it, and you're going to push down. You're going to pull the bottom one that's next to the fabric. You're going to pull it up and then pull this through. Now before you pull it all the way through, see, you have some tightness there. I'm sorry, I'm out of frame. Before you pull it through, give your needle a twist. See how I'm twisting the needle? That'll give your rose a pretty little shape. Well, we're going to say this is a teacup rose because it's so small. Well, that doesn't happen too often. I should have probably used the larger. I'll do one with this, do it again. Anyway, it's not going to go anywhere. It's there. It's a little rose. If you look closely, you can take your needle and you can move it around and turn it more rose-like. Oh, well, I just made a liar out of me. Okay, we're going to do it again. You're going to take your needle. You're going to go over your thread, your ribbon, pull it down to till you've got about 1 inch or 1.25 inches, and you're just going to go in and out. Just take little running stitch. We're going to do 3 of them there, and go right next to, and then pull this bottom one, push it there, and then twist underneath, give it a little twirl, and then pull it through. And see how they look like little tiny roses? That's the Fargo rose. I'm going to go through, since I don't have a lot of ribbon on this side, I'm going to go through this ribbon and the tail of the knot, and just use your thumb and pull it through. And then just cut it off. Okay, now the spiderweb rose, we're going to have to use, what you can do starting out is just take, you can trace a little circle, trace a dime or a nickel, or, well, a dime. Nickel's a little large, but just trace a dime or a small round object that's flat. And then you're going to do, here, I've got a pen right here. Okay, so you're going to make a circle, act like you trace something, or just eyeball it. And then you're going to do a Y. Put a Y in the center, and then just go out and finish. So you've got 5 spokes, like a wheel. And that is going to be your design. Okay. And that is what you use your beading thread for. So I'm not going to use that because well, I could. No, that might help you see better. Okay, you come up through the middle. You always come up through the middle. I see a shadow. I hope you're not seeing that shadow, but I'm seeing it. You come up through the middle, and it doesn't matter which spoke you go through. I'm just going to go through this one. When you start making these, you do not need to make the circle. You don't have to draw anything. You just do it. Now come back up through the middle again, not through the same hole, but through the middle. And continue that on all 5 spokes. And you can do this with regular thread too. You don't have to do it with beading thread. I've just always done it with beading thread because that's what I used a lot of. And again, always through the middle to the last spoke. Now at this point, you can totally disregard the circle. Give it a nice couple of knots on the back. And then just cut it off. And now you want to take your silk ribbon, and again you're going to come up through the center, but not in the many holes that you just made. Just come where, like, it's, I still see a shadow. Okay, you're going to come up like near the center, as close as you can get it without disturbing the stitches that you've done. Oops. Now some people at this point, they make a French knot in the center. I don't do that. Okay, this one, yeah, this is the 7mm, so I do have a large-eyed needle. Okay, so what you're going to do with this is, the reason it's called a woven rose is because you're going to weave in and out. So I don't usually start on this one nearest. I start to the next one and just slide your needle under. Uh-oh. Oh, good, I'm glad that happened. I really am glad it happened. I took out one of my spokes. My knot was too fine. So what I'm going to do is cut that off and make another one real quick. Sorry. And this time I'm going to do it without the circle. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to make a Y. I'm a little bit bigger. Make a Y. And you can measure these if you want. I just don't. Somehow they always turn out. So there's your Y, and then you're going to add 2 spokes, like wheel spokes. And then between that one and this one, you kind of come out right there. Now let's... Okay, let's see if I don't repeat that. Okay, let me put my knot back in my silk ribbon. Okay, let's try it again. I'm going to come near the center, pull it gently, and then I'm going to go under this one, and pull it kind of tight, not real tight. You don't want a lot of tension on it, but just enough to butt it up against the center. Now I'm going over top of this one and underneath this one. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to pull it through. kind of manipulate it a little bit with my finger, butt it up against there, make sure it's closing up the center. And I'm going to jump over top of this one, and I'm going to go under this one. See that? And then gently pull it through again, okay? And now I'm going on my second round, so I'm going to put it, I'm going to just continue with the weaving, because you have 5 spokes, it's going to be even and odd, even and odd. You're going to be fine with finding them, finding the strings, the threads. Okay, at this point, I'm going to twist my needle. I'm going to give it a little twist as I'm going under here. This one I'm going to go over because I've already gone under it. So now I'm going over to this one. And I'm going to, because it has a little twist in it, you're going to see it all bunch up. And you're just going to let it pull through. Uh-oh, I think I got my, oh, I did. I split my thread. Oh, are you kidding me? Let's see if it comes through or not. It might. Oh, dear. Yeah, it came through. This doesn't happen. I mean, it happens, but rarely. I took the other one out. Darn it. Well, he's still hanging on there. That's my knot. We're going to keep going, girls and guys. Anyway, I'm going underneath this one. I'm going over him and under him, this one. I can't believe that. Anyway, you'll start seeing you twist your needle the opposite direction. I'm going to cut that off because it just looks awful. I don't know if we'll be able to salvage this or not. I might have to start over again. Okay. And that's all you do. You just go up, over and under, over and under. I'm going to go over that one because apparently I went under it and pulled it out. I'm not sure what's going on with that unless it's this fabric, which I never use. So, and you just keep going over and under, and it'll start looking like a rose, okay? You just have to practice. You just have to practice, that's all. And it will get easier as you go. I promise you it does. And you can make all kinds of things with it. And we're going to go over this. Now to finish it off, I'm going to pretend like I'm finished. To finish it off, you're just going to go down into the fabric and then gently do it as if you're making another petal. And then feed it through there and cut it just like all the others, okay? So you've learned the Lazy Daisy, the Japanese ribbon stitch, the Fargo rose, and the spiderweb rose, or the woven rose. I call it spiderweb, but it's a common name for it is woven rose. And then for here, you can come along and you can do a Lazy Daisy on this side and a Lazy Daisy on this side, and it'll be the leaves. Or you can do the Japanese ribbon stitch on both sides with 7mm thread, and it'll make a nice leaf as well. So that's it. I hope it helps. When you start doing silk ribbon embroidery, you might get hooked, like a lot of us do. And you can make things like purses. This is my very first crazy quilt piece. And I did these. These are ribbon roses. And these are Fargo roses. And this is the Japanese ribbon stitch. And the Lazy Daisy. And you can add to them with, like you can do the feather stitch and add beads to them. And they look like baby's breath. Like one of the things in here I did, I added baby's breath. And you can make bracelets. You can do clumps of different flowers. and do bracelets. These are felted bracelets. Lila Levine, she actually made this one, and I bought this one from her. And then I have these, this was a piece of sheer fabric, and I created this one, put in some glass beads. But you can do all kinds of things with that. I even decorate sometimes my little projects with it. So whenever you're finished with embellishing whatever flower you're going to put on these, and then you iron your little fusible web, all you're going to do is just do a whip stitch around the edge like this. You can also glue them. You can definitely glue them, but to finish it off, I just did like a little whip stitch. You can do a running stitch, but whip stitch seems to me, it looks better. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the two-part presentation on stitching. And again, join in on the giveaway. And please check out all the other talented ladies, because their projects I know are going to be sensational. So thanks again, Lydia. Thanks to all of you and all of my newbies who subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.